Today, let's talk a little bit about identity, particularly how you see yourself through the research process. So, first thing, it's really related to positive self-talk, which I admit that at one point I had a really hard time taking seriously. The idea that I was going to give myself a pep talk and everything was going to turn out okay was really hard for me to wrap my head around. But then I started looking into some of the sports philosophies and particularly a series of commercials that was put out by Nike about the effects of self-talk. And one of the things that really stuck with me was the idea that you activate the same parts of your brain when you are concentrating on and remembering sometime you were really successful at something as you do when you are being successful at that thing. So when you talk about thinking positively, it's almost like warming up your brain to try and get the same type of performance. Remembering a time when you worked well and what happened when everything was going right really does get you in that right mindset. So now I try really a lot harder to practice positive self-talk and to avoid negative self-talk, since that, just remembering all the times you didn't do well at something, activates all kinds of other parts of your brain. So I try to avoid that a little more concertedly now. And what that has to do with self-identity and research is that when you ask yourself certain questions, when you get frustrated and you start thinking, why am I doing this research? Who is ever going to take this seriously? My research doesn't even seem to matter. And that is negative self-talk. And really, when you start feeling yourself go there, you've got to, one, try to avoid it, and two, have some strategies in place and some answers that you have ready to go that are positive in nature. Why am I doing this research? So that I can learn. So that I can share my learning with others. And you know what? If you're doing your research and everything's going wrong and all the data you're collecting doesn't seem to support anything you thought it would, awesome. You are being able to share that with someone else. You can share what doesn't work. If you don't share that it didn't work, somebody else is going to go down that road eventually, which is a kind of a waste of their time if you had published and they had been able to find the information that this didn't work. So I wish there was more negative results published. That's a whole separate issue. And then the idea of will my research matter kind of ties into why do research. It's for all those reasons. And if for nothing else, when everything else is going badly or with your research, if that's happening, you can learn from the causes of things going badly for future research. And I wish I had some access to some papers about people's experiences when research went really badly and why, so that I could avoid that myself. Okay. We're getting kind of long for my post. I don't want to bore you guys too much. Do not be afraid to think well of yourself. Just don't. It doesn't mean get a huge head. It doesn't mean treat other people poorly because you think you're awesome. The two don't necessarily equate. It isn't I'm awesome and other people suck. It doesn't have to be how it goes. It can be I know that I'm great and I know that my ideas are worthwhile. Maybe they won't be worthwhile to every single person who comes across them, but they are worthwhile. And really believing that and being willing to say that to yourself is huge. So